Hi, this is Scott Garibay, and today we're going to talk about Legends of Vox Machina and Dungeons & Dragons 5th Edition, and I'm going to tell you everything that I am thankful to Matthew Mercer for in Legends of Vox Machina. All right, so Legends of Vox Machina is dropping right now. It's on Amazon Prime. You can watch it immediately. If you don't have Amazon Prime, I know somebody you know does, right? So set it up this weekend. Watch it if you can. All right, so basically, I've watched an episode and a half of Legends of Vox Machina. I'm going to tell you everything I like about it. All right, and also this is a thank you to Matthew Mercer. Matthew Mercer's been doing a ton of work specifically to push Dungeons & Dragons 5th Edition as the world's #1 tabletop role-playing game, and he has succeeded. Matthew Mercer, more than anybody on the planet, has been more effective in saying tabletop role-playing games is Dungeons & Dragons 5th Edition. This is the game that is the most fun. This is the game that contains, unlike any other game in the world, has the best rule sets because it contains lessons from day one of the tabletop role-playing game world. And that in order to surpass Dungeons & Dragons, what you have to do is you have to innovate in such a dramatic way that you can beat a game that is including lessons from day one TTRPGs, right? So Dungeons & Dragons 5th Edition is a game that doesn't compete really in a fair way against any other tabletop role-playing game, because it's literally saying we're the only game in the world, we're the only tabletop role-playing game in the world that can include lessons that were learned on day one from the activity, tabletop role-playing games, that it established in America in 1974. Like nothing else has this, even has the ability to match it when it comes to rule systems, right? Unless there's massive innovation, right? Which there has not been. The biggest innovation in the world in tabletop role-playing games has been narrative dice, which came out through FFG in the Star Wars tabletop role-playing game. It was a massive innovation. It did nothing to surge that game past Dungeons & Dragons, okay? And because it didn't execute on a whole bunch of other things, right? So Matthew Mercer's there, and then also he's like, you see all this fun, you see this Hollywood glory, you see it like this is all Dungeons & Dragons 5th Edition, right? And we abandoned Pathfinder because we knew it didn't have the rocket juice we needed to conquer the world with streaming. And conquer the world, they did. Like it's astounding. Tabletop role-playing game coverage from Matthew Mercer surpassed every single video game on Twitch. That is like, Matthew Mercer has put himself in a position where what he does, right, has the ability to skyrocket the success of Amazon Prime's streaming service, right? Right now, right, we could come out on Monday and people could say, this is the new GOAT. This is the new Game of Thrones, right? There's a possibility of that. People are like, you know what's my new main jam? Deadpool and Dungeons & Dragons, because that's exactly what this show is. It's Deadpool and Dungeons & Dragons, right? Except every character is Deadpool, right? So basically, I'm really incredibly thankful for Matthew Mercer putting just a massive rocket booster on Dungeons & Dragons 5th Edition specifically. I'm very, very thankful. So here's what I loved in his show, okay? First of all, there was a dragon in episode 1. Dungeons & Dragons, there's your dragon. Right there. Like, it was a blue dragon. Like a traditional blue dragon. It looked exactly like a dragon. Like, literally the same size, the same wings, claw, bite. Everything's straight up Dungeons & Dragons 5th Edition, right? It matches the color, it matches the size, it was spot on, right? Love it, okay? The other thing is there are recognizable classes, right? The fighter, you got a barbarian. It's actually a barbarian, right? Cleric's right there, right? Rogue is right there, okay? So cleric, fighter, rogue, wizard, right? And you have casters, right? Actually, that is interesting. There's casters. I'm not sure there's anything on the Vox Machina team that is recognizable as a wizard. That was recognizable to wizard as me, but caster, close enough, right? So I love that. The other thing is there's a bard. I know a lot of people throw flack at the Bard in Dungeons and Dragons 5th edition. I think that's starting to change. I think there's more respect coming to the Bard class overall, which I'm very happy to see. But there's a very cool gnome Bard in this, and as functioning as a Bard, right? I hate the personality of the character, really dislike it. Very very destructive, like very like socially, the social interaction of that character is outrageously destructive, right? Like really harmful to a lot of people, right? And it's supposed to be a hero, right? But the Bard actually sings, and the Bard actually buffs the rest of the crew and functions as the traditional Dungeons and Dragons Bard class. Oh, and I'm trying to stay focused on what I love about this show. There's a lot, right? The other thing is the action is fantastic. There is a lot of sword swinging. There is a lot, you could see HP getting reduced, right? Like one of the characters got, one of the non-player characters got their hand chopped off, right? And that kind of stuff can happen in Dungeons and Dragons, right? Like, and also, I love this too. It's a trope, okay? But tropes are not all bad, right? The Legends of Vox Machina opens with the player characters getting into a massive brawl in a tavern. There ain't nothing in the world more Dungeons and Dragons than that, right? It's Dungeons and Dragons from start to finish. It feels Dungeons and Dragons, and it's also very American, right? Like you're like, hey, here's a bunch of heroes, right? They're getting a drink. This place is going to be destroyed within 30 minutes, right? Like it's very American. Very Dungeons and Dragons, very in your face, like combat pillar, right? And right now, right, we've just arrived at the social interaction pillar of Dungeons and Dragons. It's been performative up to this point. It's same with it, but now we've actually opened up high mechanical complexity on social interaction. But the combat pillar's been there forever, and the wonderful celebration of combat right at the beginning of the show is very cool, right? The other thing is it does show an adventuring party, okay? Like the party is together and they need to work together in order to do adventuring, right? So this idea of a party, right? Like that, you don't really go out by yourself, and you don't, Dristoren is really not Dungeons and Dragons, right? He is kind of a lone hero, right? He has a few people he allies with, but he's definitely that classic lone wolf type. Right, and so this is and also from a Dungeons and Dragons perspective, it's saying, hey, these people are together, and if you're going to accomplish things in the Dungeons and Dragons world, that has to be specifically accomplished from the perspective of a group working together, right? What else did I really enjoy? Oh, just the Hollywood shine on this, right? David Tennant and Felicia Day actually do some voice acting here, but they're bringing real Hollywood cred, right? Now you have Mercer and his crew in there. Nothing special there. They're just voice actors, right? And that's not gonna bring the noise, right? Like that's not gonna give real the kind of numbers we need. Somebody just said that we need 1.2 billion hours of viewing, right? Like in order to we need 1.3 billion hours of viewing within the first week in order to break Wheel of Time's record, which was just set like 2 weeks ago, right? Now it's gonna be challenging because this only has it's only a half an hour, right? But if people like this a lot more and jump on it, and it surpasses Wheel of Time in viewing hours, right? Even though it's only like 2/3 of the length, that could be huge, right? So it's really exciting. So I really love how Dungeons and Dragons it lives. Oh, let's talk about this, the art. Oh, I was talking about David Tennant. So David Tennant is a very real, actual Hollywood actor. Harry Potter, Doctor Who, and not just Doctor Who, clearly winner Doctor Who, right? Like, so I started watching Doctor Who when the relaunch happened, and the numbers are in, right? Like, Tennant is the Doctor Who of the new relaunch, right? Like, Capaldi didn't put up any numbers. The doctor that came after Capaldi didn't put up any numbers, and the show's in serious trouble viewer-wise. I couldn't get through Capaldi. I couldn't get through the doctor after Capaldi. We did watch, I think his name is Matt Smith, but we didn't enjoy him as much as Tennant. So David Tennant is literally the modern Doctor Who. Like, no two ways about it. Like, has crushed all competitors within his space, right? Fright Night, real movies, right? Before, let me talk also about the art. The art is tremendous. I love the art on this. It looks gorgeous, right? I love the color palette, how bright it is, right? I love how the quality of the art itself, the opening of Legends of Vox Machina is absolutely spectacular. It shows the team in this circle sweeping around them, and they're standing on this cliff, and all the seasons change. The other thing is the energy. Just the energy really does capture Dungeons and Dragons. It has a Dungeons and Dragons energy to it. It is spectacular. I am on matching and saying, hey, this is Dungeons and Dragons on the screen, right? And so Matthew Mercer I think he's succeeded in making sure that the world sees Legends of Vox Machina and says Dungeons and Dragons 5e is kinetic energy, is excitement, is good art, is animation, is a direct competitor to Game of Thrones, right? Coming for the crown, right? If you come for the king, you best not miss, right? It is trying to be the next Game of Thrones, and the attempt is not lackluster. It is significant, right? Definitely some things I would have changed about Legends of Vox Machina. There's tons of stuff I love, and I just love that Matthew Mercer is like, yay, Dungeons and Dragons 5th edition. This is the game. This is the future. This is the hobby. I totally agree with him. I think that's the true message of Legends of Vox Machina. I'm very excited. I'm hoping we get on Monday and there's some really good news about this. Watch it immediately. That's my opinion. I'd love to hear your thoughts on Legends of Vox Machina. Let me know in the comments below. Please consider subscribing, and have a wonderful millennium.